Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our MQ Traders webinar tonight on Ascendas REIT, a giant dividend machine. So I'm Robin from MQ Trader and the host for tonight's event. So before I start, can I just have a quick mic test? If my voice is loud and clear, can you please type 1 in the chat box to let me know? Okay, Anne? All right, so just a brief info about MQ Trader. Our full name is Malaysia's Quantitative Trader Group. We are a group of traders that collect quantitative data, which is normally only available to large financial institutions only. So by using this data, we have developed the MQ Trader Stock Analysis tool and made it available to our MQ members for free, as our goal is to empower our traders to make quicker decisions and greater confidence during their stock trading journey. So other than the MQ Trader Stock Analysis tool, we also have our MQ E-Trade, our MQ Points Accumulation, our MQ Affiliate Program, and many more as well. So if you are interested and want to gain free access to all our systems, you can do so by opening a trading account through M Equities LIH team or the TA Securities JC seal. So if you are interested to open a trading account with our advertiser, you can type 5 in the comment box to let us know. So like the system that I mentioned just now, this is our MQ E-Trade, which you actually can view a lot of information on each stock at just one glance. Like for example, you can see the live market codes or our exclusive MQ trading signals, which have buy and sell signals one, and also up to 10 market depths as well. So this info will greatly facilitate your trading journey. And the MQ Trader Stock Analysis tool that I mentioned just now, you can also use this system to get buy and sell signals in just one click, and also can do back test to test whether this buy signal is accurate or not. So for our MQ members, if you want to use this system, remember that you can visit the links in our comment section. And for non-MQ members, remember that you can also gain free access to all our systems that I mentioned just now by opening a trading account with our advertisers as shown on the screen. So if you are interested, you can type 5 in the chat box to let us know, or scan the QR code on the screen to continue to open a trading account with them. And just want to highlight that if you open an account today, you will get an extra 500 MQ points with our advertiser, either one of them. Now, MQ Trader is currently running a referral program where MQ affiliates can get a bonus of 1,000 MQ coins for each successful referrals within the campaign on top of their usual recurring rewards. So the refer and referral account need to be open before June 30th, 2023. So remember that if you are interested and want to earn more MQ coins, the campaign ends before June 30th. So sign up now to start earning MQ coins. Now for MQ members, as usual, you can get a 300 MQ points as a check-in reward. So all you have to do is screenshot any part of this webinar and submit the screenshot in the quiz email that will be sent to your email after the webinar ends. Now right here, I will give you a few seconds if you want to take a screenshot right now. We will be sending the quiz email to all who registered for this webinar. And if you haven't registered for the webinar, we encourage you to do so, because if you register, you can get our post-webinar market updates, such as the webinar recording. We will actually record it and send to your email, and also the quiz email to claim the 300 MQ points. We'll be having a Q&A session later, so please feel free if you have any questions, send to us in the comment section. And right after the Q&A, before the webinar ends, we will also have a mysterious gift session where we will be giving gifts worth up to 249 ringgit. So make sure you stay until the end if you want to win our mysterious gifts. Now, for tonight's webinar, we have invited Mr. Kenny to speak with us. He is a wealth advisory director and a REIT specialist. He helps clients construct diversified portfolios, and also he is a certified financial planner and a REIT trainer in the SGX Academy. So Kenny will be sharing with us in-depth analysis of Ascendas REIT tonight. He will share everything we need to know about Ascendas REIT, including its history, portfolio, and financial performance, and the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on Ascendas, and how did the company navigated through this challenging period. And most importantly is Ascendas REIT's dividend payout, which have been consistently high throughout the years. And last one is the future growth prospect of this counter, how it benefits our Malaysian investors. So if you guys are ready to learn more about Ascendas, you can type ready in the chat box to let us know. Is everyone ready to learn more about Ascendas? Okay, so I think I'll pass the webinar to Kenny.
Can you see my screen and hear me? Let me see, I cannot see any response. Okay, good. You can see me and hear me. Okay, very good evening to the Malaysian investor and also a Singaporean investor. I believe that most of you from Malaysia. So today I will be sharing Ascendas REIT, a giant dividend machine. If you are a speculator or you have not done any dividend investing before, maybe this is another asset class that you may consider. All right, my name is Kenny Law. I am, later I do my self-introduction. So before I start, I just want to go through a disclaimer first. Although I am sharing with all of you the Ascendas REIT, but this is not an invitation for you to invest or do some speculation or trading, all right? Because it's very much depends on each individual risk profile, time horizon, and also objective. Okay, later I will share with you what would be your key objective when it comes to the Ascendas REIT investing. Okay, about myself, full-time, I am a certified financial planner, and also I specialize in REITs, working for largest independent financial advisory firm in Singapore. Currently, I am managing about 30 million Singapore dollar toward investment, majority of REIT investment. And at the same time, I'm also the Singapore REIT trainer, panelist, and also speaker for SGX Academy. I am helping SGX to promote the Singapore REIT to the overseas investor. For example, I have conducted a few webinar and training to the dealer or broker in Hong Kong, China, Korea, and also US, so on and so forth. So I am actively promoting Singapore REIT to the overseas investor. So that's why Malaysian investor is one of the audience I'm targeting. Right. At the same time, I'm also conducting the Associate REIT Investment Advisor certification course to the dealer and also broker and also private banker in the region. Every month I will be on the Money FM 89.3 to give about the Money REIT market outlook. So if you are the REIT investor and you would like to know what is going on in the Singapore REIT sector itself, you can tune in to Money FM 89.3. You just can go to Google and type my name, Kenny Law, Money FM. You probably can get a link easily. Okay, and I'm also having all my analysis and also money update on my personal blog, mystocksinvesting.com, whereby I will share some of the detailed data or analysis on the Singapore REIT itself, fundamental analysis, and at the same time also technical analysis, and give my view of what is going on in the Singapore REIT and what is going to happen in Singapore REIT in the near future. Okay, today's agenda, I'll break into the 4 sessions. Before I go into the Ascendas REIT, it is very important to understand what are REITs, because if you can understand the business model and how the Ascendas REIT generating their revenue or dividend from the business model, then you start to understand that why Ascendas, they are able to perform pretty well even during the COVID period. And after that, I will end up with what can an investor do in 2023 when it comes to the S-REIT investing. Okay, what are REITs? Okay, first of all, REIT stand for Real Estate Investment Trust. They have to raise the capital from a unit holder to purchase the real estate. And they have to distribute more than 90% of rental income back to the shareholder. Because of this 90%, there is the certainty and also predictability in terms of the dividend. Unlike other stocks, if they are not REIT, for example, bank stocks, there is no guarantee the stocks itself, they will distribute the dividend, all right? They can declare the dividend payout ratio 40%, 50%, or maybe they can keep some of the profit into their balance sheet itself. They have no guarantee that, or no promise from the management itself to distribute all the dividend. But for REIT in Singapore, they have to distribute more than 90% of the rental income back to the shareholder in order to enjoy the tax transparency. REIT is asset class pretty similar to collective investments, something like unit trust or mutual fund. And REIT is publicly traded over the exchanges, and they are professionally managed. The underlying of the REIT, they are real estate. There is a debt limit or gearing ratio imposed on the REIT itself. In Singapore, they cannot exceed the 50% of total asset value. So in short, what is REIT? REIT is a combination of shares and also the investment in the physical real estate, right? For example, you just imagine that in Malaysia or Singapore, if you want to invest in a physical property, you invest in the whole property itself. And after that, you generate the income from a property for a passive income, for a retirement income. But for REIT itself, basically, you just own part of it. You don't need to fork out the full amount or 1 million, 2 million in order to own the property for the rental income. You just invest partial of the share, then you are able to get the rental income. It's something like 包租公包租婆. Okay, so it's a small portion. So how the REIT generate the rental? Okay, basically there are two ways to raise a fund for the REIT itself. One way is to borrow from a bank, and the other way is to raise the capital from a poor investor. After they get the fund, they can go out to purchase the real estate property. It depends on which sector. It can be industrial building, can be factory, can be warehouse, can be commercial office, can be the hotel, can be the resort, or can be the retail mall, can be anything. It depends on the mandate. Ascendas in this case is under the industrial. Basically, they own the factory, the warehouse, data center, business park, so on and so forth. After they purchase the property itself, whatever rental income generated from the property, after paying off all the loan expense or interest expense, the remaining 90% taxable income, they have to distribute back to the pool of investor as a dividend payout. Okay, the business model is very straightforward. Basically, again, what I say is a 包租公包租婆, that kind of business model. Okay, the characteristic of the REIT itself, okay, basically, because the underlying is the real estate. So when you invest in a real estate, there is very, very low probability all your investment will be wiped out if the business is not doing good. Because at the end of the day, the tangible real estate can be liquidated, can be sold off, then the investor can get back the money. Okay, unlike other stocks, when they are not able to generate a positive cash flow from the operation, the share price will plunge, and after that, at the end of the day, if the liability more than your asset itself, you get nothing back. Okay, but for REIT, it's a good instrument because you can have a capital preservation. So if you are investor and going into retirement or planning for your legacy, you want to preserve your capital, REIT can be one of the asset class can help you to achieve that objective. And secondly, REIT is able to provide a stable income payout and also inflation hedge, because over the long term, the property value will goes up. At the same time, your rental incomes will goes up. So you do not really need to worry about your investment you lose in terms of purchasing power. Over the long term, all right, so the share price, because of the valuation of property will go out, dividend will going out, your share price automatically will go up in the long term. And because REIT, how they generate the income basically is from rental itself. When you enter and when they purchase a property, most of the tenant, they have a lease agreement. So when you have a lease agreement, you know that what kind of rental income will be coming in the near future, in the 1 month, 1 quarter, 1 year. So because of the predictability, the earnings, there are less earning surprises, because if you invest in technology stock, sometimes they say that, okay, I'm losing money. Sometimes they say that, okay, I have a big jump in the revenue or big jump in the profit itself. So for REIT itself, the earnings volatility is pretty low. And this also will help in the price volatility. So the price volatility is not as volatile as the technology sector. And REIT is pretty liquid, unlike the traditional that kind of real estate. If you want to sell it for to raise fund, you cannot sell it because you have to put your physical property out to the market and look for a buyer before you can get any buyer. Then after you finish a whole sales and purchase agreement, it can be a few months later. But for REIT itself, if you want to liquidate it, you can buy today and sell tomorrow, or even sell in the evening. So it's as liquid as an ATM. So in short, REIT are able to provide a good source of stable income, generating an asset class, and is very useful for retirement planning. And for Singapore REIT itself, they are paying a dividend either every quarter or semi-annually. And the dividend, if you think that you do not really want to take out the dividend for your money expense or for your retirement fund, you can enroll in the very structured way of dividend reinvestment plan. So some of the REIT, especially during this period, they have this dividend reinvestment plan for investors to choose. Whenever they have the dividend reinvestment plan, they normally offer around 3% discount to the market price. Singapore REIT overview. So Singapore REIT is not new in this world. It has been close to 20 years. The first REIT was listed in 2002. Ascendas is one of the REIT, industrial REIT first introduced in 2002. It has been more close to 20 years history. So it's not something like new asset class or newbies on the block. Okay, it's pretty matured in Singapore Exchange. Right, at the present moment, there are total 42 business trusts and Singapore REIT for investor to choose. There are many of them to choose, and market capitalization about 100 billion. In average, at the present moment, the dividend yield is 7.6%. All right, it can beat the inflation. The inflation is pretty high now, and amid the market volatility and there are a lot of fear in the market due to the high interest rate environment. At the present moment, the Singapore is trading at 0.81 price to book. That means that close to 20% discount. You just imagine, if the property worth 1 million at a good location, they are able to give you 7.6% dividend. But at the present moment, the property only selling at 800,000. It's really a no-brainer. Okay, because over the long term, the valuation will continue to goes up, and also the share price will goes up. So at the present moment, in short, this is a golden opportunity for investors to really consider to invest in REIT. and to lock in the high yield and wait for the recovery, and also at the same time you can enjoy the capital appreciation. Because for property investment, it's impossible forever that trading at that discount, okay, especially for good REITs. And as REIT, they occupy close to 12% of total STI index, right? STI close to 38% their bank stock. That's why if you invest in the STI index, basically you are investing in the Singapore banking sector and also the S-REIT sector. Bank and S-REIT close close to 50% market capitalization of STI. Okay. And investing in Singapore REIT itself also offer the investor a very diversified kind of property investment. Although the REIT is listed in Singapore, but if you look at this pie chart itself, there are only three REITs, 100% property in Singapore. Majority of the REIT, they have the overseas property. So if you are looking for opportunity to invest property in Australia, UK, US, Germany, those other places, you do not really need to physically go there to invest in the overseas property, because in Singapore itself, you can access to those overseas property through REIT. Okay, and also you are able to diversify into a different sector. You can see that close to around 20% to industrial REIT, 13% hospitality REIT. Diversified REIT means that it's a combination of commercial office and also the retail mall, and 20% of retail mall, office 15%. Specialized REIT, this one is the data center, around 5% from a data center itself, and also you also have a healthcare REIT, right? Healthcare, basically they focus on the nursing home and also the hospital. So with 100,000, you are able to really diversify into a different sector. You don't really need to rely on just one property to really generate that kind of rental income. And beside the sector diversification, REIT also have exposure in the whole Pan-Asia. For example, there are 4 REIT itself that have the property in South Korea, 2 in Hong Kong, 6 in Malaysia. Majority of them have a property in Singapore, and so on and so forth. Comparing to other REIT region, Singapore REIT is considered the second largest after the Japan, right? So after if you exclude Japan, Australia REIT is the largest in this region. Okay, 125 billion market capitalization and 44 REIT. Singapore is not very far away. Basically close to 100 billion, 42, and the dividend yield 7.6 versus 6.2. You can see that across the whole region itself, Singapore REIT sector actually currently is trading at a discount. Okay, Malaysia REIT is pretty small, not so many choices, about 18, and also same thing is selling at this discount. So now I will go into the overview on the Capital Land Ascendas REIT. Okay, so Ascendas REIT is a first industrial REIT listed on Singapore Exchange in November 2002. It has been close to 20 years of history, right? It have gone through the global financial crisis in 2008, COVID in 2000, and also now the high inflation last year, 2022, until now, they are still performing well. Later, I will show you the financial ratio. So they have gone through a few crises. They are still here, right? Especially during the COVID itself, and which means that if during a crisis, if they cannot bring down this REIT, this means that they are fundamental pretty strong and pretty resilient, and also they have the firepower to really withstand all this kind of uncertainty. The sponsor is a Capital Land Group and is a subsidiary of Temasek Holding. All right, this is something similar to Khazanah Holding in Malaysia. And basically, the anchor property, they are in Singapore, majority are in Singapore. And recently, they have an expansion plan, expand to Australia, US, and also Europe. And what would be their investment mandate? The Ascendas REIT basically focus on a technology sector, okay, which is the growth sector, and also the new economy and the e-commerce logistics in developed market. So whenever the REIT invest in a developed market, which means that they basically fundamentally they are strong, their portfolio is more resilient compared to the emerging market. Okay, because everybody must know that whenever you are investing in overseas property, one of the risks would be the currency, because you'll be collecting the rental in the local currency. For example, if Ascendas REIT that invest in US, they'll be collecting in USD. But in Singapore itself, they have to convert the USD to Sing dollar to pay the investor in Sing dollar. If they invest in the Europe property, they have to convert the euro back to Sing dollar to pay the investor in Sing dollar. So currency risk is one of the major consideration and very critical consideration when the REIT itself invest in overseas property. So investing in developer market is crucial. So whenever investor want to invest in those REIT with overseas exposure, just pay special attention to all the forex. Okay, and beside that, they also invest in the business spaces and also life science. This business space are referring all those business park, right? We have whereby you have all the big MNC there, very good building for all the MNC, and you also have logistic park and industrial and also data center. So Ascendas is the second largest REIT in Singapore, right? After the CapitaLand Integrated Commercial Trust, it close to about 12 billion. The largest one is a CICT, close to around 13 billion. Okay, an overview of the Ascendas REIT in terms of portfolio. Close to 62% of the portfolio that are in Singapore, 15% in US, 14% in Australia, and 9% in UK and also Europe. Total portfolio value is 16 billion. And you can see that basically their income is pretty diversified. They have so many property, right? You can see these are all the property. Each of the property or building itself, the maximum rental income from this building is maximum only 4.4%. So when you come to risk management, for example, if something happened to Galaxy, right, the building burned down or everything shut down, right, and they are not able to generate all the income from this building itself, is only 4.4% exposure. And very unlikely all the building all go down together, because if all the building all cannot generate income because destroyed, that means that there will be end of the world, right? Because they are so diversified. So diversification provides a certainty and also predictability in terms of dividend payout. Okay, and just give an overview. Where are all the property? There are total 94 business space and life science, logistic and industrial and data center property in Singapore, right? You can see that scattered around all the Singapore itself. And for US, they have a 48 business space in Portland, Santiago, San Francisco, and also logistic hub in Chicago and Kansas City. And also there are many property and also very diversified in different locations. So if one location have an earthquake, you also do not really need to worry, because other side, they are still able to really generate that kind of rental income and pay investor dividend. Australia, they have a 36 business space and logistic property in Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, and also Western Australia. Europe, 49 data center and logistic property. In the whole Europe itself, you can see that UK, France, Switzerland, Netherlands, there are quite a lot of property. Okay, good thing is they don't have anything in Ukraine, right? Or Russia, you don't need to worry about it. Okay, so in terms of the sector itself, 48% they are in the business space and also life science, which is a growth sector. 25% in logistic, and also 27% in the industrial and also data center. Data center is a growth sector, life science is a growth sector, logistic is a growth sector. So they are all in the right sector, because there is a structured trend changing in terms of consumption patterns, such as the digitalization. Now we know that everything is going for digitalization and also e-commerce, and also we are going through the digital economic transformation now. So they are at the right time and also right place and also at the right portfolio. Okay, and if you look at the diversification from different sectors itself, right? They have a 11.8% from logistics and supply chain, engineering 11%, data center 10%. You can see that it's pretty diversified. So if there's any crisis into a certain sector, you don't really need to worry too much. For example only, during this period, we have a banking crisis, right? We worry about the regional bank may go bust. We already see the Silicon Valley Bank. Now you have a Credit Suisse, and who knows, we don't know what kind of bank crisis will come. If really bank crisis and comes, and there will be another global financial crisis, what is the impact? The impact to the Ascendas REIT only 7.6%. Right, because the rest of the business, they are still able to really continue to generate the very good rental income. Okay, in terms of customer diversification, they have total 1,720 tenants. All right, so people may ask, okay, if one tenant go bust, for example, Singtel go bust, then what would be the impact to the dividend? Okay, Singtel is the largest tenant, so the impact will be 3.3%. Then we have to ask, what is the probability of Singtel go bust, right? At the end of the day, Singtel is a very important company for Singapore, right? So the likelihood of Singtel going bust is low. And we also have a DSO National Laboratories, those are Singapore, and a C, Shopee here, right? Stripe, DBS Bank, Pine Interest, Citibank, so on and so forth. So in terms of tenant diversification, it's pretty diversified. Okay, in terms of occupancy, all right, when it comes to property investing, we need to pay special attention to the occupancy, because occupancy on the wrong trend or occupancy rate keep dropping is not very good. So if you look at the past few years, right, the COVID year is around 21. Basically, they are still holding pretty well, right? Holding pretty well, and it's quite stable. And we are slowly recovering from the COVID. Okay, the yellow color is COVID period. You can see that actually occupancy rate slowly increasing, 90.2, 91.8, 92.1. Okay, increasing. All other regions show the similar trend, right? Except the US is flat. So all in all, the occupancy rate is on a growth trend. If we continue this growth path, it's expected the occupancy rate could continue to improve. That will also help in the dividend payout. Okay, in terms of the lease expiry, right, and it's pretty diversified, it's spread out. They don't have anything that all the lease is going to expire at the same time. You can see that only 21% is going to expire in 2023. They have plenty of time, enough time to really get all those renewed. So in terms of the weighted average lease expiry, after you add all this kind of thing, weighted average right, is about 3.8 years. Okay, another thing beside the occupancy rate and also the lease expiry, another thing to pay attention to is whenever they renew the lease with the current tenant, are they able to renew at a higher rate or a lower rate? Okay, so positive rental reversion is a positive thing to the REIT portfolio itself. And you can see from here, from since 2022, right, 2021 and 2022, you can see that every year they have a positive rental reversion. This is very important, because you do not, if the portfolio is not doing well, if the economy is not doing well, and some of the REIT itself, they will have a negative rental reversion, which means that the rental renewal is lower than the previous year. This is not a good sign. So we can see that actually 2022 is pretty strong. Okay, some of that is double digit, high double digit. Okay, but moving forward in terms of the because economy will be slowing down a little bit, but Ascendas also predict a single digit rental reversion moving forward. That's why they said that rental reversion for 2023 is expected to be the positive mid single digit range. Okay, which is a positive thing. Okay, in terms of debt, many investors, they are worried about with a rising interest rate, whether the interest expense will be impacted or increased. At the same time, you also affect the dividend payout. All right. So the answer is yes or no. It very much depends on the debt maturity profile. Okay, you just look at this example. Okay, example only. Right. in 2022, we have a very aggressive interest rate hike in 2022. If the REIT itself does not have anything debt to mature this year, they do not need to refinance the debt at a higher interest rate, right? So during this year, 2022, only this portion will be affected because they have to renew it, they have to refinance it with a highest interest rate. So for Ascendas itself, probably 2023, 2024 will be affected, and there are already some indication at end of the 2023 interest rate will start to come down. So all this debt itself, 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027 itself, it won't be affected by all the interest rate hike, right? If they have a fixed rate, they won't be affected too much unless they have a floating rate. So the impact is not 100% of the debt you'll be impacted by the interest rate hike. Okay, and weighted average debt maturity about 3.7 years, and the average debt cost about 2.5%. And good thing here is the unsecured borrowing in 91.7%. So they don't really need to pledge a lot. They don't have a lot of property to really pledge to a creditor or banks. Okay, and also in terms of sensitivity of the interest rate impact on DPO, Ascendas also did some sensitivity simulation. So moving forward, if the Federal Reserve continue to increase the interest rate, okay, they will, for example, increase by 100 bips. There will be the minus 2% on the 2022 distribution. Okay, so if the interest rate, vice versa, if they drop the interest rate, that means you don't have this kind of thing. If they drop the interest rate, immediately you have a positive impact on the dividend payout. Okay, let's look at the distribution history. Okay, if you see over the long term since 2022, after the IPO, Ascendas REIT over the long term, right, the DPO distribution per unit is on an increasing trend. Okay, over the long term. And recently, during the COVID period, in order to save costs and also to preserve cash, they change it to semi-annual dividend payout. Previously, are all quarterly dividend payout. After they change it to semi-annually, you can see that this one is just after COVID, 2020. You can see that they are really not impacted by COVID itself. It's actually increasing every half a year. It's on the very good, nice, positive trend. So now we have already coming up from a COVID itself. The economy is recovering. It's expected moving forward. The DPO will continue to go up. And in terms of the valuation itself, all right, net NAV stand for net asset value. Basically, you minus your the formula is your total asset minus total liability, right? Then you can see that over the long term, the net asset value of the Ascendas REIT is on the increasing trend. And in terms of gearing, is pretty healthy in Singapore REIT sector. The gearing limit is 50%. Basically, they are running around 30 over %. Right, it's way below the 50% limit. In terms of ESG, right, Ascendas REIT ranked number 2 in the Singapore governance and also transparency index. And in terms of the GRESB, this is a real estate, the kind of grading. They got a 3-star out of 5. And MSCI ESG rating, they have an A. And based on the Morningstar Sustainalytics ranking, ESG risk ranking is a low risk. All right. So in terms of the ESG participation itself, they are basically not bad. So after analyzing Ascendas, all right, of course, no stock or no investment is 100% safe. So it's very important to really have a proper diversification portfolio. So at the present moment, current market condition, at a high interest rate environment, many S-REIT are selling at a huge discount. Okay, and with very high yield. I just want to go through a few. For example, the number 1, the highest dividend yield in Singapore is as high as 22%. 22%, right? The second one, 21%. third one 19%, fourth one is 15%, top 20. You can easily find some gem over here. But of course, not all the REIT are safe. Some of them fundamentally they are not strong, and they may crack under the high interest rate environment. But if you know how to pick the right one, fundamentally strong one, you have to look at balance sheet, right? You should be able to really maximize the return in a very short period of time. And beside the high dividend yield, you also can see that the price to book value over the 1 year, over the 5 year, they are really close to the lower range, 1 year period and 5 year period, which means that it's a leilong. It's a leilong at the present moment, okay, Singapore REIT. And if you look at the wheel, the lease expiry profile is still pretty long, right? Not say that the tenant, all the tenant will be run away, and then after that they're not going to collect any renters, no. And and you can see that actually they're pretty diversified, right? And occupancy rate is also very high. We are not talking about 50% occupancy, 40% occupancy, right? They are still pretty high at 90%, 80%, that kind of range. So fundamentally, some of the REIT, they are still pretty strong. It's only thing that why currently they are selling a huge discount is basically the fear. There are just too much fear in the market, right? With the recent banking issue, you create all the unnecessary fear to the US office itself. That's why you can see that Manulife US REIT and also Prime US REIT, basically they have 100% property in US itself. Everybody is scared about the US commercial office now. But if you think of another way, if you have a contrarian thinking, isn't it's a good time to really buy into good quality office property, right? At the end of the day, you are buying property, you are investing in real estate, right? Real estate, if the real estate, the price is cheap, it's good to really pick up some good one. So it's very important for the investor to diversify into different sectors. For example, if you are 100% concentrated in the US commercial office, okay, most likely your portfolio will be down by 50%. So it's very important to diversify into different sectors. Diversify into retail sector, office sector, industrial sector, hospitality sector, and also healthcare sector, right? Ascendas REIT is in this sector, industrial sector. In terms of average yield, industrial sector give us around 6% average dividend yield. So if you know how to construct a more diversified portfolio by just selecting the top three REIT in each sector, right? It is quite easy for you to have a diversified and also low risk portfolio, giving you about 6.4%. Okay, so I have showing a lot of data here. All right, so I will show you where I get those data to really speed up my analysis. All right, I'm building the REIT screener. Okay, this is a demo version of a REIT screener itself. You can see that actually all the Singapore REIT itself, all here, listed all here. And I key in all the data basically in terms of market capitalization is a TTMU, right? If I click on, I want some REIT with a very high market capitalization, big market capitalization, because they are safer, right? You can see that Capital Land Integrated Commercial Trust about 13 billion market cap, Ascendas REIT about 12 billion, and the yield at the present moment 5.4% for both, and the yield spread 2.5%. And from here that I can see that what would be the price to book relative comparison. And also I can do a comparison in terms of occupancy rate. I also can do a comparison with all the REIT here based on the lease expiry, what is the interest cost they are paying, and so on and so forth. So I'm using this screener itself to really speed up all my analysis. And if I want to go to the individual REIT, right, immediately I can see that how diversified in this sector itself, and whether this this REIT itself, this Ascendas, what is the credit rating for this Ascendas REIT, and also whether they are in any index itself, and the price performance, debt management, lease management, ESG rating, fundamental ratio, so on and so forth. So at one glance, that will help me to really save a lot of time in terms of doing an analysis. And you can look at historical comparison. Ascendas used to trade at price to book trade. Okay, at the present moment, Ascendas is trading close to -1 standard deviation against the historical price to book. Okay, anything below this average price to book is undervalued. Okay, so that is a very good opportunity for the investor to look into it. And at the same time, you look at the past history or dividend continue goes up, and the net asset value going up. Okay, gearing ratio moving sideways, and the yield spread. Okay, because of the 10-year government bond yield continue goes up, the yield spread is not so attractive. Okay, but eventually the 10-year government bond yield has to come down because of the mean reversion and dividend yield, so on and so forth. So one glance, I'm able to really help me to do all this kind of analysis instead of going through all the presentation slide. Okay, this screener is not ready yet. You'll be launching pretty soon in the next few months. So if you want to have a first-hand information, right, when the REIT screener launch, you can do a QR code and also put your name into the wait list, right? Because once you launch itself, we will send the notification to the investor itself, and so that you can the investor can start to play around with it. Okay, I just pause here for a while, a few seconds, if you want to capture this QR code. Okay, so beside Ascendas, and what would be other ways to really invest in Singapore REIT? You can DIY as what I showed you just now. But if you think that it's just too much work and too much time need to really do in the detailed analysis, there are a few ways to really invest in REIT in Singapore. In Singapore, I offer the REIT advisory to my client. These are a few solutions you may consider. One is I can help a client to customize a REIT portfolio because there are total 38 REIT, pure REIT in Singapore Stock Exchange. Not all the REIT are good, only half of them are good. So instead of doing analysis one by one, I can straight away help the client to build out the portfolio. Okay. And the other way is I also can offer the ETF. There are total five REIT ETF listed in Singapore Stock Exchange. If you don't know how to choose, you can go through the advisory. I can help you to build up the ETF portfolio also. And beside that, there is a managed account, REIT managed account for investor to consider. And then lastly, there are also trade unit trusts which have exposure to S-REIT in Singapore. So if you want to have more information or you need any financial advice in Singapore, I only can do it in Singapore, right? In terms of REIT advisory, REIT portfolio management, investment planning, retirement planning, insurance portfolio audit, estate, and also business succession planning. If you want to know more, this is my contact number, kennylaw@ffpl.sg. If you want to follow me, this is my Telegram. I will post all the REIT related information over there, right? So you don't need to search high and low all the REIT information. Just go to Telegram. You can get most of the information you need. And if you want to talk to me, right, beside sending me the email, you also can put in your detail in the calendly.com here, right? And so we can arrange a separate call to discuss your requirement and see what I can help you. All right. With that, okay, 45 minutes. Okay, that's nice. All right, I will hand over back to the host and see what kind of question all of you have.
All right, thank you, Kenny. Okay, let me share my screen first.
Okay, I'll stop share.
Okay, so once again, thank you, Kenny, for the in-depth sharing session. So for non-MQ members, remember you can get free access to all our systems by opening a trading account with our selected advertisers. So if you're interested to learn more, you can type 5 in the chat box or scan the QR code to submit your contact details. Then the respective team will guide you on the next step later. And also just to highlight that if you open one today, you can also gain an extra 500 MQ points. So I also remember that we are currently running a referral campaign where our MK affiliates can get a bonus of 1,000 MK points for each successful referrals within the campaign. So do sign up as an MK affiliate and start referring right now. For MK members, as usual, remember that the 300 MQ points, all you have to do is just 2 steps. Take a screenshot in any part of this webinar and submit it in the quiz link that will be sent to your email after the webinar ends. So I give you a few seconds if you haven't done the screenshot. We'll be sending the quiz email to all who registered for the webinar only. So if you haven't registered for the webinar, you can register now. Then you can get our post-webinar updates like the webinar recording and the quiz email. Just gentle reminder, if you receive the quiz email, you will also need to upload today's webinar screenshot to claim the 300 MQ points. Okay, so we will be having a Q&A session after this, so please feel free to send us your questions. And right after the Q&A, before the webinar ends, we will also be having our mysterious gift session where we will be giving gifts worth up to 249 ringgit. So make sure you stay until the end. Okay, so Mr. Kenny, I will start with the Q&A session now. The first question is a bit long. So it's from anonymous. The question is, hi Kenny, like to hear your view. Given the current or last 1 year high inflation environment, why generally the valuation of REITs properties going down in value? Isn't that because of inflation things, including properties, are getting more expensive, thus highest valuation respectively for properties as well? How Ascendas valuation or book value in the last 1 year till to date, up or down?
Okay, this one is quite technical. If you can follow, you follow. Otherwise, it's very technical, right? Basically, the valuation, there are two. Okay, the valuation model, they are always look at a discounted cash flow. They are looking at future cash flow, right? And bring to the present value and also divide by the discount rate. So under the inflationary environment, if the occupancy rate and also economic doing well, right, that means your discounted cash flow bring to the current value, present value, you'll be increasing, right? But at the same time, under the high inflationary environment, there may be the worry of the economic slowing down. So when they use the discounted rate in their formula itself, they tend to use a higher rate, interest rate, right? Because interest rate represent risk. So when you plug in the whole formula itself, your portfolio valuation, property valuation will drop. Okay, but this one is very much depends on a different sector. In general, the Singapore office, industrial property, and also the retail mall in Singapore in general, we don't see the drop in valuation. Okay, so because of the risk is relatively lower in Singapore, and also because Singapore is very small, so the property itself also have a very high occupancy rate, and at the same time, especially last year, actually the industrial rental and also all the retail rental, residential rental all going up. So those are the tailwind from the property sector, Singapore property sector itself. But if you look at all those property in overseas property, for example, those are in Europe and US office itself, all the valuation drop, okay, because of the risk level is much more higher. So I try to explain as layman as possible. So in general, the Ascendas valuation itself and book value, they are not dropping, and also they actually stay or increase slightly. Okay, so that is the first question. I don't know how many of you are able to get it. Okay, if not able to, and just take note that this is quite complex when it comes to valuation.
All right, so we move on to the second question. Once again, it's anonymous. The question is, what's the most optimum gearing percentage when it comes to evaluating REITs, like not exceeding 40%?
Okay, no right or wrong answer, but rule of thumb, you don't want to invest any REIT, the gearing very close to 45%. Because if the, okay, you come back to the formula, the gearing ratio is represent the total liability, the debt divided by your total asset value. So when you invest in property, majority actually you're borrowing money, right? Remember, maybe you borrow 40% or 50%, right? You have a fixed amount. So your debt will not drop, okay? But your property value will drop. Once your property value drop, your gearing ratio will shoot up. Okay, when you shoot out, they cannot exceed the limit, then the REIT itself, they have to either issue additional right to reduce their liability, or they have to sell away the property. When they sell away the property, the DPU will drop. When they have to issue right to reduce the liability, your share price will drop because of the dilution. Okay, it's again very technical. So rule of thumb, you try to avoid all those REIT that close to 45%. And if you want to have more margin of safety, you have to look at 40%. But it's very much depends on the fundamental of REIT. Some of the fundamental of REIT will be affected. The portfolio value will be affected very much when the portfolio value will drop. But some of the REIT, although they are having a 40% that kind of gain ratio, but fundamentally the portfolio, maybe majority of portfolio in Singapore itself, you don't have much concern on it.
Okay. Now for the third question is from Maran. His question is, invest in S-REIT ETF will be much safer compared to invest in individual REITs, right?
Yeah.
Please give your opinion on this.
In general, yes. If you do not really want to do any homework, you just want to invest and close your eye, you're happy with 6%, then S-REIT, of course, ETF, it is safer. But on the con side, the con side is when you invest in ETF itself, you are buying everything, right? Whether the REIT is undervalued, overvalued, you just buy everything. At the same time, you also buy fundamental strong REIT and also a weak REIT. Everything you buy together. So that's a disadvantage when you invest in the S-REIT ETF, right? You are not able to really optimize it. If you invest, if you know how to do the individual REIT picking itself, you can really optimize it, right? You just stay with all the good REITs itself, and definitely you outperform your S-REIT ETF.
All right, thanks for the insightful answer. So moving on to the fourth question. REITs have to pay out 90% of their profit as dividend, means in order to grow their portfolio, have to incur more debt or issue new units to raise capital, also means dilution to existing unit holders' share value. How to mitigate?
Okay, not 100% true in this area. Okay, so you just imagine you are the property investor itself. Let's say the property you buy at the present moment is 1 million. Now today value 1 million. All right, then you are able to borrow 40%. Okay, which means that your 400,000 debt to own the 1 million property. Okay, so over the long term, your debt 400,000 you still there, assuming you don't pay down. Assuming you don't pay down. But over the long term, portfolio value go up, right? Maybe 1 year later, 2 years later, you go for 1.1 million, 1.2 million, 1.3 million, 1.4 million, right? What will happen to your gain ratio? Your gain ratio will drop. That means that you're not incurring more debt, your gain ratio will drop, but your portfolio value goes up, your dividend goes up, right? When you have more debt room, you are able to borrow more money, right? If you borrow more money, it's not at the expense of the investor because you don't need to issue the additional right. And at the same time, you also can enjoy the growth in dividend, right? So that would be one scenario. But on the other hand, if they are the portfolio value degrading or the REIT management mismanage itself, then they have to issue more debt. They have to issue more debt to really buy, or issue more unit to really buy more property to grow the property. So it's very much depends on the REIT manager how they deal with it. So the answer can be yes or no. It depends on how the REIT management manage their REIT itself.
All right, I believe that's our last question for the Q&A session. So that concludes Kenny's sharing on Ascendas REITs. I hope all of you have learned a lot about Ascendas tonight. And once again, I'd like to thank Kenny for this insightful session. Thank you, Kenny.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
so
bye-bye, everybody.
So, okay, for everyone else, we will now move on to our mysterious gift session shortly. But before that, for MQ members, remember that you can gain free access to all our system by opening a trading account with our selected advertisers as shown on the screen. If you are interested, you can type 5 in the chat box or scan the QR code and submit your contact details. Then afterwards, the respective team will guide you on the next step later. And remember that if you, payment. Remember also, if you open a trading account today, you can get an extra 500 MQ points for you to redeem MQ rewards. Okay, we'll be starting our mysterious gift session now. Remember that you can win gifts worth up to 249 ringgit. So basically, I will show questions and answer options on the screen. You just need to type out the correct answer. Total, there will be 3 questions, and for each question, we will only choose the first 2 persons who answered correctly to be the winners. And if you won before within this webinar, we will actually pass the chance to the next person, so everyone actually gets a fair chance of winning the gifts. And for winners, remember that if you win already, please send us your contact details through the Google form. We'll put the link in the comment section for you. So if you guys are ready, I will now start with the first mysterious gift question. Okay, the first question is, what reward can you get with MQ Referral Campaign 2023? Wow, everyone is quite fast. Oh, I see there are some wrong answers here, yeah. But just a moment, let us find who are the 2 fastest one. So the correct answer is D, 1000 MQ coins for each successful referral, which is actually equivalent to 10 ringgit. So let me check the first 2 person. Okay, the first 2 that won is Victor Aoyong and Chiu. Remember, for Victor Aoyong and Chiu, send us your details using the link in the comment section so that we can actually arrange to send you the gifts. I pause here a while for them to submit first. Okay, so moving on to the second question. What does REIT stand for? I believe this is quite easy. Okay. Well, I see there are few different answers also. Okay, never mind. So the correct answer is B, Real Estate Investment Trust. So the fastest 2 moment, yeah. Okay, for the second questions, winners are Megan and Guan Hao. So congratulations, Megan and Guan Hao. Remember, send us your details with the Google form in the link. Okay, thank you, Aoyong. Okay, so if you guys are ready, we will now move on to the last question for our mysterious gift session. For the last question, Ascendas REIT have properties in countries below except? Wow, everyone answered very fast. Okay, the correct answer is C, China. I see some of you answered incorrect, yeah? So never mind. For our last question, the winners are Lee and Edward. So congratulations, Lee and Edward. Now that sums up for our mysterious gift session. Remember, for the 6 winners, send us your details with the Google form in the comment section. Okay, so as I mentioned just now, if you are interested in our referral rewards, you can actually sign up as our MQ affiliate, because right now we also have a referral campaign which gives an extra 1000 MQ coins as bonus for each successful referral. So if you want to sign up as our affiliate, you can scan the code on the screen. And for MQ members, you can get a 300 MQ points as check-in reward. Remember that you just need to screenshot the webinar anytime also can, then attach the screenshot in the quiz email. You can only receive the quiz email if you registered for the webinar. As I mentioned just now, we only send out the quiz email to all who registered for the webinar. So if you haven't registered, you can do so now. If you register, you can also get our webinar recording and the quiz email as well. For non-MQ members, remember that if you are interested in any of our systems like our stock analysis system or MQ E-Trade, you can actually use it for free by opening a trading account with our selected advertisers as shown on the screen. So if you are interested and want to learn more, you can type 5 in the chat box and the respective team member will contact you to guide you on the next step. MQ Trader will be organizing webinars at least once every month. And sometimes we also organize giveaway campaigns from time to time as well. So remember to like and follow us on our Facebook and Instagram so that you won't miss any of our updates. And just to a sneak peek is that we are having an offline event in May 20th. It's an investment summit event. So stay tuned as we haven't announced any details yet. You can stay tuned on Facebook and we will announce the details very soon. You can also follow us on iTree Investor to get our latest updates or download MQ Chat to get the full features of iTree Investors. Once again, a very big thank you to all of you who participated in our webinar today. And with each participation, you certainly made this webinar session to a success. Thank you for staying through, and I sincerely hope that all of you have learned something about Ascendas today. I will now turn off the camera, but I will still keep the webinar live for another few minutes so that you can refer to the links in the chat box before it's gone. Once again, thank you for participating in our webinar tonight. I'm Robin from MQ Trader. I wish you a great week ahead. Thank you.
Thanks for watching.